Welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce. This is SST Edupedia. Myself, Assistant Professor Sunil Shah. Today, I would be covering the topic called drafting of agenda for the meeting under the subject called business law, which is there in the class of SYBCom as well as SYBAF in SEM 4, and the topic which is covered, a drafting of agenda of the meeting, is in Unit 2. Students, you can easily get it how the agenda should be drafted legally. What should be the content while drafting the agenda for the meeting? What should be the content and what it should not be? What do you mean by first coming and clearing the concept of agenda? Agenda is a document that outlines the content of the forthcoming meeting. So whenever the meeting is being scheduled, before that the agenda should be written and drafted as per the law. It is usually sent along with the notice of the meeting. So you are aware, students, when the first board meeting has been conducted or annual general meeting is conducted or extraordinary general meeting is conducted, notice has to be sent. So notice, the rule of law of sending the notice is 15 clear working days. Notice should be sent before the meeting is scheduled, and in the notice the agenda is mandatory to be mentioned. This notice as well as the agenda should be given to ROC beforehand, and at the same time it should be given to the registered members of the company. It is a route map of the meeting. So agenda is what? It is also called as a route map of the meeting. The agenda may be part of the notice, or in some cases it may be attached as an annexure. Annexure is additional document along with the notice. The conveyor or the secretary or those persons who has been allowed by the law to conduct and to preside over the meeting prepares it in consultation with the chairperson and gets it approved. So notice as well as the agenda has to be get approved by the chairperson before they send it to the members. Coming to the characteristic of the agenda, it is generally in the agenda is sent along with the notice of the meeting. It is written at the end, but before or after the signature of the convener of the meeting. So in the notice it has been mentioned the venue, the place, the time at which the meeting has been scheduled. After writing this particular things, the agenda has to be mentioned, and it should be mentioned before the signing authority of that particular notice. It is arranged according to the importance at the end. Controversial topics. So in a meeting, you are aware there is a lot of controversy, lot of debate, lots of talks are there. So to avoid all this, to have a smooth running of the meeting, the agenda has to be mentioned, and only that particular points which is mentioned in the agenda has to be covered up in the meeting. The controversial topic should be written at the end if it is necessary. The topics are determined by the secretary with consultation with the higher authority or the convener of the meeting. So in a society where you stay, or in the secretary of the company has to take into consultation with the chairperson of the company, or with the company secretary, or any of the board of directors of the company. It is written in brief but in explicit manner. So the drafting is very, very important related to the agenda of the meeting. What are the importance of agenda? It is circulated in advance to the members of the company or to the society or any of the meetings. The agenda is been circulated beforehand to the committee members, and the meeting can be take preparation to discuss the topics accurately. So whatever the topics which are being mentioned in the agenda has to be discussed accurately, because some peoples are reading the minutes of the meeting and some peoples are recording the meeting in camera. So has to be prepared, has to be drafted as per the law. It helps to take prompt action. So because in the meeting many people are coming, many members are coming and discussing, and they have to get the resolution approved. So in this case the agenda takes a very important point. Since it is a set of order, it helps the chairperson to conduct the meeting smoothly, to avoid the controversial topic, to avoid the delay tactics of the other members or those who want to take out the time during the meeting. So drafting of agenda is very important, because if there is any issue which is raised by the shareholder of the company, and if it is not mentioned in the agenda, then the chairperson of the meeting can easily say that this particular topic is not in agenda, hence it cannot be discussed. It can ensure covering all the topics that will be discussed in the meeting. It helps to control the unnecessary talking in the meeting, because time is very important for all the members, because they are coming all the way. The venue where the meeting has been conducted and the hall or that particular premises is also important, because everyone has to go at the end of the meeting. So conclusion of meeting is very important for the smooth running of the meeting. Why agenda is to be sent? Directors need to be informed about the meeting and the business to be transacted in the meeting. So as per the agenda, the business is to be transacted and has to be used that word resolved, that someone should propose and someone should second that particular resolution, the particular draft or particular point which is raised by the shareholders. The directors may seek and obtain the further information on items of the agenda before the meeting to have a meaningful participation at the meeting. So in some of the points which is mentioned in the agenda, it has been mentioned that any other topic by taking into consultation with the chairperson of the meeting. So all the important points which is not taken up in the agenda, they can be discussed during the session of the meeting if and only the chairman allows. Otherwise, that topic is not being taken out for the discussion in the meeting. How to write the agenda of the meeting? Very important topic, where this particular rules which I am mentioning in this current slides, this and the forthcoming slides are very important. Those persons who are interested to draft the agenda. Identify the meeting's goal. So first of all, the company secretary or the secretary of that particular meeting has to take into consideration the goal, why the meeting has been called. When you start with your goal, you can ensure that the meeting purpose is clear and that every activity you wish to do with meets your objective. The objective of the meeting should be properly cleared and should be mentioned, and that particular point has to be taken first into consideration. Seek input from the participants. In some cases, when the notice has been sent or when the agenda has been circulated to the members, some companies may ask the participant to raise any other points which the company has forgot to mention in the agenda. So in such cases also, they will seek inputs from the participant. If you want to keep your attendee involved throughout the meeting, get their feedback ahead of the time so they can ensure that the meeting meets to their needs. So topic which is very important and has to be discussed during the meeting, they should make all the participants to be involved in this meeting. Prepare a list of questions that you want to address. So the secretary or the convener of the meeting should prepare the list of the questions which he wants to address. To create a list of the questions for the meeting, you may start by understanding the meeting's goal. Determine the goal of each task. It is the best practice to make sure that the task you do during the meeting has a specific goal. Only after achieving this specific goal, they can do the next agenda for the meeting. Before drafting the agenda, the secretary or the convener of that particular meeting should allocate the time which has to be spent for discussing this particular topic. So he should have something in the mind for this particular business transaction or for this particular agenda, this much time would be spent. So he should be very calculative, and he should keep that issues in the topmost or the priority position, where much more time would be given, or much more point would be there for this discussion. This section of the agenda guarantees that you will get an adequate time to cover all the items of the agenda. Attach the documents. So whenever the members to whom the notice has been circulated or the agenda has been circulated, to avoid any question which has been raised during the meeting, the document has to be circulated to the members. Attaching document related to the topics in the agenda can help the participant understand the subject. Hence, the opponent as well as the person who is being conveying that meeting would be aware that we have all the proofs and no more questions would be asked. Identify who leads on each topic. So whenever the meeting has been conducted, different agendas, different members should be allocated who is sitting on the opposite side, and they will discuss this topic has to be discussed on the priority basis. Usually leaders can take the leading role in the meeting, whereas in some cases the team members may lead the meeting under the supervision of the leader. So during the meeting, there should allocate different members to discuss this particular points, so that the atmosphere would be better and it would be smooth conducting of the meeting. And each time with a review. So after the agenda has been completed, when there is a resolution which has been passed, the secretary or the convener should take the review of that particular agenda which has been covered up, leaving the time at each end of the meeting with the review that can help the participants better understanding and what decision they made and what information they are discussed, so that they can take the necessary actions or the steps for the further conclusion or the further meetings. Things to include in the meeting of the agenda, or the under the agenda, what are the points to be included? Meeting schedule, include the meeting time, date, venue and names of the anybody who will attend the meeting, who would be the guest for the meeting, who would be special invitee for the meeting, that has to be mentioned, the date, time, venue and the special guest or the special person who would be attending after taking the approval. The title are crucial in any agenda because they help in the participant identify the topic. So whatever the titles has to be written in bold, or it should be in with the underlining or in the italic form. The objective of the meeting has to be mentioned in the agenda to remind the attendees what meeting is about and what it intends to accomplish during the meeting. Overview, include list of all the subjects or activities that needs to be discussed during the meeting. Every topic or activity can be time limit to ensure and discuss all the important topics. So in most of the cases during the AGM or extraordinary meetings or any of the first board meeting, the peoples argue or debate on that particular point. So but the next and the third or the fourth points are being missed because there is a shortage of time, and at the end of the meeting the peoples are also becoming lazy, so that the arrangement of the agendas in the topic should be given properly, that the most important topics are discussed first and foremost. This section includes a welcome note, the important things under the agenda. While drafting, this section includes a welcome note by the speaker or the convener or the company secretary, introduction, or those persons who are been absent or those persons who are been expired, that particular apology or the condolence would be given during the meeting. Informational items, this includes new information would like to share with the group. Any of the business transactions that the chairperson or the company secretary want to share with the shareholders, that has to be discussed during this particular meeting. Items to do, the list of actions that your group should do during or after the meeting, that has to be mentioned. The topics for discussion, these issues on which you can put team's input. They can say that this particular topic has to be discussed, we would be discussing in the future meeting, that has to be brought into the agenda. Call to action, you may include call to action that marks the beginning and the end of the meeting of the agenda. So the call for action is very, very important for preparing of the agenda. Tips for creating meeting agenda. Send out the agenda 3 or 4 days before the meeting. Sending the agenda few days before the meeting may help the participant to prepare for the meeting and also give them some time to complete any task that is required for the successful session or successful completion of the meeting. Proofreading is very important. The agenda, the notice which has been drafted, the person should check out properly. The agenda is mentioned properly. The wordings which is mentioned is also been proper, because this particular agenda, this particular notice is been circulated to the members, and in case if the members, if they can file a case or they can file a complaint to ROC, there would be a problem. Hence the proofreading is mandatory. Sometimes the participant may rely on this significantly on the agenda and may have a good idea to review for its mistake and incompleteness before sending it out. Proofreading ensures that the agenda has all necessary information and helps in reflecting your actions in detail. And the attentions are to be taken into consideration. Take advantage of online templates. So in cases while drafting an online meeting, you are aware, students, in this last 2 years back or last 2 years, if you are seeing, many of the companies are taking online meetings. AGMs are being conducted online. The first board meetings are being conducted online, and according to the rules which has been set by ICSI, that is Institute of Company Secretaries of India, that are also allowed, and the Companies Act 2013, the amendments are been also done. The meetings are also scheduled online. So whenever the agenda has been scheduled, whenever the meeting has been scheduled online, the agenda has to be circulated. So it is mentioned, it is necessary that the agenda's template should be better. The templates of the agenda for the meeting which has been circulated online to all the peoples, all the shareholders, the template should be formatted properly. So take advantages of online templates which are available freely. There are many online templates which are available with the word processing application. Many word processing application provide templates for a wide range of personal and professional documents, including meetings agenda. Consider one of this while preparing this particular agenda. While preparing the agenda, use bullet points or you mark as 1, 2, 3, 4 or ABC. Rather than providing the paragraph, the material in your meeting, the agenda considering the bullet point is very, very important to list any topics for the discussion for the important updates you want to share. Bullet points are often more scannable and then the paragraphs and help to clearly mention in details of the meeting. You can usually use sub bullets to go more into details if you want to discuss online. So students, in this particular today's video I had explained you related to how to draft the meeting, how to draft the agenda for the meeting, how it is useful and what points to be considered while drafting and what point you should ignore while drafting the agenda of the meeting. Thank you from my side.